Welcome to the Pop-Off with Gene FitzMagic and friends. Your daily sports and entertainment radio show, live all over the world. You're going to want to hear what these guys have to say. With their hot takes, recaps, previews, and predictions, sometimes these guys might get along, but most times, they won't. So see what happens when these guys pop off about the world of sports and entertainment.
Happy Friday, everybody. It is Friday afternoon, June 2nd. It is the Pop-Off, and I am Gene FitzMagic, joined as always by the incomparable Caleeb Pinkett and my man Joey D. How you guys doing today?
Yo.
Good.
We got an exciting game one to talk about, or maybe not so exciting, depending on who you were rooting for.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we didn't have it in the thing, but we will talk a little bit about the Ja Morant thing, just because it's in the headlines. It wasn't in our initial headline thing, so we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Just getting to the bottom of what needs to happen with Ja Morant. But you know what? Let's dig. Oh, and I haven't mentioned yet, but Nigel Downer will be with us. He's just running a little bit late, so he will be with us shortly. But let's run right into that game one. 104-93. Denver takes it. Denver was up big, 17 at the half. Undefeated at home in the playoffs, which is amazing to me to be this far into the playoffs and still be undefeated at home. Was there ever any doubt for you in this game, Caleeb? Did they have this one from opening tip to you as well?
Yeah. I thought Denver was going to take the first two anyway. I think it's hard for people to adjust to the altitude, like when you're coming from, the heat. We're just playing in Boston, which the last time I checked was sea level. And, they've been playing at a high pace, a lot of games, so their body is already fatigued. Then having to go into a place that you're getting half, at minimum, 60% of the oxygen you're used to getting, which is a huge difference for your body. And you're playing against a team that's well rested, that's been waiting for you. You know what I mean? So yep. I didn't expect too much from Miami. For them to only lose by 11, I predicted a blowout. So only by 11 isn't so bad. I think Denver takes it in 6. Giving Miami that. A friend of mine's calling a gentleman's sweep. He's saying they'll win one, but I don't see Miami really having a shot in this series. Like, I don't think it goes to a game 7 at all. I think they've met. It's like what happens when the rec team goes against a D1 team. And that's pretty much, you know what I mean? Like the Heat is a rec team, 7 undrafted players. Like, you got the best guys at LA Fitness in the gym at 6 a.m. They run that court. But, now it's time now you're playing against a real team. And these guys want to win. They feel disrespected. Yep. They feel like this is their shot. And they really want to win it for the Joker. If the Denver were to lose this series against Miami, it would be catastrophic for his legacy. Like, it would just not catastrophic. That's the wrong word, but it would be really bad. He would take a big hit to lose to this, you know what I mean? To lose to this team. So, because buckets, he's playing with house money. It can't hurt his legacy to lose. He could get swept and it doesn't matter because they weren't supposed to be here anyway. So he's playing with house money. So I think it's a lot for Jokic. And with that being said, I think they're going to make it happen. I really do.
I think a lot of us thought maybe he would have a little bit of a shot if there's some rust on the Nuggets. As it turns out, coming into this game, Nuggets showed zero rust. Miami showed rust. They couldn't hit a shot to save their lives in the first half.
Tired.
That's what it was. Just did not have their legs under them. Second half, they were finally able to hit some threes. But I mean, if you look at Max Strus and Caleb Martin, two guys that have been unsung heroes throughout this playoff series. Caleb Martin 1 for 7, and I'm sorry, I know that's your namesake, Caleb, but 1 for 7 from the field last night. And then Max Strus 0 for 10 and 0 for 9 from 3-point range. Strus needs to hit at least 3 or 4 threes a game. For him to go 0 for 9, that's where I think lost the game was their ineptness in the 3-point shooting in the first half.
Teams live and die by the 3-point shot in today's era. So if you're 0 for 10, you're not going to win because teams. And I don't know, I'm definitely aging myself. I see teams now in fast breaks stop to pull up for a 3-pointer with nobody underneath the basket. First of all, when I played, that's directly to the you dare take a shot without somebody underneath the basket, you're already in trouble. Like, you're done. So for you to pass up a for sure 2 for an opportunity to get a three. That just shows you where the game is. So 0 for 10 is not going to cut it. Yep. And I think it's purely oxygen deprivation. They were going and weren't getting that feeling that they were
sucking wind.
So I'm telling you, like, people always they don't pay attention to things like that. Like, it's mile high for a reason. You know what I mean? And that is an advantage for those teams. So, I think Miami will get it underneath them and they'll be able to compete, but they're not going to win. And like I said, when you live and die by the three, there it is. This is what happened to Boston. Lived and died by the three. They were 9 for 42 or something crazy like that. They lose. That's how it is now.
I think another thing that hurt them too is only 2 free throws all game. Now, Joey, was that a product of the refereeing, or were they just not making things happen to get to the line?
Yeah, I think to piggyback off Caleeb, what he's saying, it's true. I think obviously, number one, I think Miami is already exhausted going through a 7-game series of Boston to begin with.
Yep.
Denver obviously had rest. So what we didn't know is Denver going to be rusty because they've been rested? Obviously not. So once that's the case, Miami's fatigue is going to be there whether they're rusty or not, period. So is Jimmy, what did he put up? 13 points? That's not going to cut it. It's just not going to cut it. In fact, those are the games that they lost against Boston was when he was off his game. So it's going to fall on just him. And when they're tired, and you already know when you're tired and you're playing basketball, you're not trying to get to the basket, man. And if you're not getting to the basket, you're not getting free throws. It's just kind of the way it goes. So I think that all played into it. And I think that, I don't see Miami winning. And I was expecting a little bit more of a blow up, but it still wasn't close. And I still think that they're going to lose at least the first 2. Yeah, I agree with Caleeb. I think they'll probably win 1, but they'll probably lose in 6. They weren't supposed to be here. And it's coming to the point where it's just finally caught up with them. And sometimes it's just how it runs. I mean, it's just the way it is. You got to the point you get to. What else are you going to do?
I'll tell you what, and I agree. I think with the whole free throw issue is I didn't think it was bad refereeing. I think it was just what you just said. They didn't create fouls. They didn't create the fact that you need to stop them. And here's another thing too is you can show like replay after replay after replay. How many times they'd set a legal pick or a legal screen and you have a wide open Jimmy Butler or Max Strus and them just miss a wide open shot. Like they weren't just missing contested shots. They were missing wide open shots. And then, and my thing is, too, when you're wide open like that, there was a couple times where Jimmy Butler was wide, came off the pick and roll, was right there, but instead of driving to the basket, just pulled up to miss a wide open jump shot. Those things can't happen if you want to stay in this game. You got to be creative, and you're gonna have to play a different kind of way because you're already outmanned in the sense of, like you guys said, coming off a 7-game series, a brutal 7-game series. You're gonna be tired. You're gonna be sucking wind in Denver. And let's face it, you just mismatched because Denver has the best basketball player on the planet on their team right now. And Jamal Murray is probably top 5 the way he's been playing this postseason. So, I mean, you're going against a tough basketball team. And to take a line from Caleeb, they're pretty much a rec team. They're the Planet Fitness team, right? So, what's Joe's average gym from that movie, right? From the Vince Vaughn movie?
Dodgeball.
From Dodgeball. Joe's average gym? Yeah. So he's got a bunch of those guys, man, and he can't afford to miss open shots. So my thing is this: he can hit those free throws. We saw him hit those clutch 3 free throws. Didn't lead to the win, but it got them ahead with like a second left in Game 6. He can hit free throws, man. He's a good free throw shooter. Get to the line. Don't ball with that jump shot.
Well, that's the point I'm making. They're not getting to the line because they're not taking they're taking threes. They're settling on threes. It's very hard to get a foul on a 3-point shot. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, you're not getting that. And also, there's something to be said about pressure. Some people, when they're wide open, it's way more pressure on them than it is when there's a hand in their face. Because when it's a hand in their face, they're playing like it's in rhythm. So they're used to they're in rhythm. When they're by themselves, it's like, and the crowd is good, and they're letting you. So now it's like,
I better hit this.
You overshot it. It's short. It's too long. Is it? You know what I mean? Versus if you were in rhythm and you're somebody is defending you, you can. You know what I mean? Like you saw Jokic with AD's whole extended hand in his face, and he hitting a 3 like that.
Couple times.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So sometimes there's something to be said about the challenge of like playing against somebody versus alone on an island and you're just wide open and everybody's screaming, because they weren't screaming like go make it. They're taunting. So it's like, it can be nerve-wracking.
I listen. I think even though they were getting crushed in the first half, made a run in the second half, there's still some bright spots. If you're Miami, if you look at it this way, if you can correct a few things, getting to the free throw line, shooting more than 2 free throws, if you can get there and you can shoot yourself 15 to 23 free throws, it's a different ball game. If you get Max Strus to have just a generic game, hit me 3 threes, that's 9 points right there alone. I mean, there's things that they could have done that could bring them into the game that I think if they correct. You're laughing. You don't agree?
Because I'm laughing at the if is infinite. If
Max
Strus would have got drafted, he would have been in the NBA and not at Planet Fitness.
But you don't think these are things that can be corrected though?
If your auntie was a man, she'd be your uncle. We can
not today, not these days.
It's like
not necessarily these days, Caleb.
It didn't happen. Well, hey.
Hey, Nigel.
My man's in the house.
What's up, kids? Everybody,
brother. So we're going to take a quick break so we can say hello to Nigel Downer, who hasn't been here in a minute. I feel like I haven't seen him I feel like I haven't seen him in weeks. And he's also got a new hat that he needs to tell us about.
He always has a new hat.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I told you, kids, man, I was going to order a new hat, and that hat happens to be the 1-0 Boston Nuggets. Look at this, huh?
That's
got that
cool.
City Edition logo right there. And this is like a stone gray, right? Like a stone white kind of thing. So it's not like fully white. You got the maroon new era flag, and you got look at that nice. NBA guy right there, the baller with that kind of gold and maroon. And then you got the gray UV under visor, my friends. What's good?
Not bad. So, we're talking about, obviously, you came in, we're still talking game one, 104-93. So, instead of rehashing what we've already talked about, just give us your points on what this game meant to you as far as where you thought it was going. And did you see any bright spots in which Miami could actually make this a series?
These are great questions.
Caleb doesn't agree, but I saw something.
These are great questions. First of all, I'm going to come in hot and say that I only got a chance to watch the very end of the third quarter and then all the fourth because I just happened to see the Spider-Verse movie last night.
So did I.
Yes, Caleb, we have a lot to talk about. We can even chat about that at the end of the pod. No spoilers, but it is absolutely fantastic. There's very seldomly movies that the sequel is not so much greater, but like lives up to the same standard. It was shocking how well it's done. So please do yourself a favor, go see Spider-Verse. So I digress. What I saw from the fourth quarter, it was like Miami was just playing limp, man. It just felt like they were scrappy. They're still playing scrappy. I mean, Hydra's still alive and thriving. The Nuggets came out shockingly aggressive out the gate after so much rest, after like a week of rest, which was nice to see. Is there anything that Miami can do? I mean, I know we're going to touch on it. Tyler Hero, word is he might come back for game 2. I don't know if that's going to be enough. I think it actually might throw the chemistry off. So the bright spots are that Miami got kicked in the face early. So I think it's now them, again, doing what Spoelstra does and just doing them adjustments, man, those quick adjustments and trying to figure it out for game 2. But right now, it just seems like the Nuggets have a lot of threats all over, and they are one cohesive team that is really jarring to play because they just know where each other are on the floor at all times. And you're scrambling to try and figure it out. You know what I mean? So it just felt like watching – maybe Tom Brady at his peak, playing any defense in the league, and the defense has no idea how to handle it because everybody's just so in sync with a bunch of key players. So yeah,
and you bring up a good point too. Is there a better coach in the league that you would look to make an adjustment from game 1 to game 2 than Spoelstra? I mean, if there's a guy that can turn it around adjustment wise, it's got to be Spoelstra, right, Caleb?
1,000%. I think he's the best coach in the NBA. Because nobody takes a rec team to the finals. Lose the first play-in game. Yeah. Like, lose that and now be in the finals? Come on, man. You sent Jaylen Brown and Gene's favorite player of all time, Jason Tatum, home. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, we can't deny. Like, that is coaching. Yep. I don't care what nobody says. That is coaching. That is Spoelstra. And having an elite player in buckets. But you can't do it all. And at some point, you reach this line. Let me tell you something about Denver. Denver is tall. They're so much bigger than Miami. Yeah. Like all around. Every player around the perimeter. And these guys can shoot. Right? Yep. They're rested and they're motivated. It's really
and you're right, they
hard
got
to
a
beat
lot
a
of length.
team like that. You know what I mean? So I don't, I'm not giving them that. And just real quick, Nigel, yes, the Spider-Verse was phenomenal. It has made my list. Okay, I have 3 movies they're the best sequels of all time. Beverly Hills Cop 2, Godfather 2, Terminator 2. Right? Those are the 3 that you can't beat them.
I love Beverly Hills Cop 2. Don't get me wrong. I'm not this isn't a knock on it. And I actually watched part 1 yesterday for some reason. I was bored on the couch. I put on part 1. So I actually just recently watched part 1. But would you say it's better than part 1? Part 1
absolutely.
Really?
It's a better movie altogether. Music, score, everything. Like you got to take the whole movie. I'm talking about the whole, right? You may like the particular story more, but nah. Beverly Hills Cop 2, perfect, right? You threw me off, Gene. Damn it.
My bad. I was surprised about Beverly Hills Cop 2.
And then the best trilogy would be Rocky 3. That's the best 3rd movie you'll ever get. But anyway, but Spider-Verse has made it into my sequel. Like, it is up there. And here's what I'll say that they did different than any other one. They expanded their world in the 2nd one. Woo!
Yeah,
like,
big time.
And I'm excited to see what happens next. So anyway, so I digress. But yeah, so back to the team. Spoelstra, I think he's a better coach than the Nuggets coach, but the Nuggets coach got a squad that I don't think Miami can overcome. And Tyler Hero, I agree with you, Nigel, I think could throw off the chemistry. And plus, his injury is to his shooting hand. And I heard that he hasn't been shooting yet with that hand. I mean, if you don't have a hand, if you're worried about your hand, you're not going to follow through right. You're worried about block shots, people hitting your hand, anything. Like, I don't know. So I'm not expecting him to come in and change Miami's fortune because he's there.
And that makes it weird to me. You're already saying he could be back for game 2 or game 3, but we haven't even tested out the hand.
Right.
Just in shooting alone. So you would think that would have been something that they already would have already figured out and like, okay, he can shoot. So now we're just trying to figure out what might be a good spot to bring him back in at. So to me, that makes it. I don't get where they can say definitively, 2 or 3 he should be back. He hasn't even shot the ball yet. How do you know he can make it at all based on his shooting touch? So
you know what? On that point, I feel like Caleeb brought up a lot of great points that have resonated with me along this journey of a podcast that we've been on. And what he said was things that are just like smoke and mirrors, things that are, upstairs that are just trying to trickle into the ether, trying to trickle into play mind games. And I think, Caleeb, this is one of those points where this could be just a thing that's been said, not with real no intentions of bringing Tyler back, because they want to kind of throw off the Nuggets in terms of, maybe they're going to overplan now to compensate, thinking that Hero's going to be back in, but he's not. So it's just going to eat up some of their time. Perhaps, you know what I'm saying? I just mean that it could be just some fan service, or it could be just some service to throw off the Nuggets. But because I'm with you guys, man, if that is the case, if he has not shot with that hand, we're talking about the highest caliber of ball now. And this is all do or die. Every possession matters. And we've seen it, man. We've seen what happens when you have one turnover, but you have multiple turnovers. That can be the death of you, especially when you're playing a team like the Nuggets that will take advantage of that. Not even with a fast break, but just with great ball circulation. And then they'll get that shot that they need. And so if this is the case, if Hero can't come back, just don't, man. It's fine. Just don't.
Yeah. We'll save it for next year. I'll tell you what, I wanted to bring it back to Denver for 1 second too. And 2 things. We'll talk about Jokic, but also Porter and Gordon are the unsung heroes. Porter, 14 points, 13 boards, 2 blocks, plus 20 on the plus minus. Gordon was plus 16 on the plus minus. I feel like because Murray and Jokic command so much respect, that a lot of people forget about, hey, there's still Michael Porter Jr., there's still Aaron Gordon, who are all world. I mean, not all world. Maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe in a prisoner of the moment. But those 2 guys played such an important role yesterday. And, they don't need to score points. They do so many other things on that court that I feel like they're just as instrumental as Jokic and as Murray. But, to bring it back to Jokic, 9 postseason triple-doubles this postseason is it's out of this world. We all knew how good he was, right? 2-time MVP. So we all knew how special he was. Is he even more special than we even thought coming into this postseason, Joey?
Well, maybe he's finally not that finally, but I mean, this is like Caleeb said. If they don't win this, like it's gonna be I think heads roll in this because at this point you're kind of expecting it. He's probably the best player, playing the best in the NBA right now, one of the best players. Yeah, he's ascending still, which is crazy because sometimes players, this is how they do it. Careers are pretty much destroyed or made in playoffs and in finals and stuff like this. This has happened with so many players. So he's one that's ascending. And again, he has the better of a team, the resting. I just don't see how they don't close this out, man. Even with, like we talked about, Hero coming back. Caleeb was talking about, they're not even sure if he's shooting yet. It could be smoke and mirrors. And I don't think even if he was shooting, even if he came back in, I don't think it would make that much of a difference to where all of a sudden, oh, Hero's back. So, well, the Heat now have are going to be favored. No, I still don't think that changes anything. So, yeah.
I agree.
I think their best bet if they are going to bring him back, give him game 3. He also hasn't played in a long time. We're talking about having Denver being a tough place to play because of the oxygen level. This kid hasn't played in about 6 weeks?
Easily.
Give him the shot to get his breath going, get his endurance going. Don't stick him right in game 2 Denver. I would hold off. Even if he's ready to go in game 2, I hold off. I let him play I wait till game 3 to let him get a couple of games in Miami, get his legs back under him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, he's not known as a defensive player.
Yeah, but he's still going to be running up and down the court, though. I hear what you're saying. He's not Butler or anything like that.
But that's what I mean. He's not known as a defensive player, so they need help on defense. Offense, okay, because Strus, is he really going to go 0 for 10 the next game? I wouldn't bet on it. I think he would hit something. I mean, geez, you know what I mean? But it's not going to be enough. They can't stop them. Right. Yeah. And here's the thing. It's like you were saying, keying in on Jokic, they forget. No, they didn't forget about Gordon or Porter Jr. They can't physically stop them. They don't have enough people on the floor to double team Jokic, double team Murray, and guard them. It's impossible.
Right? That's the thing. Yeah. Go ahead.
No. So what I'm saying is, there's nothing you can do. That's Golden State with KD. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna double team Steph? You gonna double team KD? You gonna double team Clay? You see what I mean?
Yep. And here's the thing: even when Jokic isn't even shooting the ball, he still gets 10 assists in the first half. So he wasn't even trying to score in the first half.
He's an all-rounded player. He's saying, "Oh, you take away my scoring, no problem. I can pass like Magic Johnson. Here we go.
Did you see some of those passes yesterday?
Come on.
I mean, they were every pass was highlight reel yesterday.
He plays like a point guard.
Yep.
Alan Hahn made a good point. Shout out to Alan Hahn, ESPN. Alan Hahn had a good point on Get Up. He said he passes the ball like an NFL quarterback. He wasn't trying to relay him to a point guard. He was he was putting him up against Patty Mahomes, where he'll pass you. You might not be open, but when he passes it, he gets you open on the pass. And they're showing the highlights, and I'm like, wow, Alan Hahn couldn't be more right. It was exactly what he does. And when you look back at some of the old footage too, you're like, wow, you know what? That's one of those things that just he anticipates. His brain works so much faster on the basketball court. It's almost like a computer. And I would say the same thing about LeBron. LeBron had that same thing. His body is just slower now. Maybe
LeBron has it too.
Yeah, his body is just a little slower now. But
of course, but that just shows you, and to the young ones out there that may be watching, that shows you when you rewatch those highlights of Magic Johnson playing back in the day, that shows you how great he was, because he was doing that at full speed with showboating all at the same time. So he's not throwing it that way. It was ridiculous. Like Jokic has that. And I think it's unstoppable. It just is. It's unstoppable.
And when we talk about that too, we also have to talk about the high risk, low reward. And what I'm talking about is the high risk is the defense double teaming Jokic, double teaming the Joker, double teaming the guy. And it's low reward because if you double team him, you know that there's another guy that's going to be open and he's going to pass it so fast that you're not going to get what you need out of double teaming. You know what I mean? Like the amount of times that they've double teamed, and we've seen Jokic do the a quick little dump that's kind of that's above his head or around a body. The guy's he could make a sitcom out of that, like a 12-episode sitcom out of just those passes, man. So if you want to double team him, go ahead. But to everybody's point, it's kind of too dangerous, and it's also not worth it because he's going to capitalize on that in the best way. You're not making him turn the ball over. That's very, very low risk or low reward.
I think he had 2 turnovers yesterday.
Yeah, they stole the ball from him one time and then another one, but that's irrelevant. Like,
that's it.
Also, when you handle the ball as much as he handles the ball, you're gonna have more turnovers. Not because you're not as good as anyone else, but you have more opportunity. The ball's in your hands more. So there's that. So before we get on to the next topic, everyone agreed 2-0 Denver after game 2.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So you know what? I do want to. We don't have it in the headlines, but I do want to talk about John Morant because Nosferatu finally came out and said that Adam Silver finally came out and said that they're going to announce. They already know what the punishment's going to be, but they're waiting till after the finals. They don't want to take anything away from the finals.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because it would
agree.
Dominate the headlines. It would really take away.
And it would really, and it's just more disrespect to the Denver Nuggets because I feel like every time the Denver Nuggets win, something else happens and it just takes away their shine.
It's that troll move LeBron did right after losing.
And
I don't think I'm gonna. I think I'm considering. I have to think about basketball. It's like like to steal the shine from Jokic to take a little bit off of the sweep, so it kind of gets swept under the rug because everybody wants to. Whoa, is LeBron gonna play? Oh my god! So it like what just happened kind of gets to the back burner. So I applaud Mr. Silver for not bringing the John Morant thing, putting the punishment down right after game 1 because it would dominate the headlines. That's all anybody will be talking about today.
Now, if you think it's going to dominate the headlines, I guess maybe you're in agreement with this. You think it's going to be a pretty severe penalty? Yes. No?
I think it's going to be at minimum half a season. I think it's going to be 1. Oh, fuck. Excuse my language. Heck yes. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I already gave you a shot, and this is with a gun. Now, state laws are irrelevant. You work for a private organization. The NBA is not the government. It is not an agency where your rights are protected. You have to do what you're told, right? It's like being a part of a country club. If they say it's button-up shirts, you can come in your tank top all you want to. They're not letting you in until you change. That's what it is. It's not discrimination. Oh, I have rights. Not when you cross this threshold. Your rights are surrendered. You do what I say. So, he's part of the NBA. He's getting paid $1 kajillion. You have to do what they say. I don't care if weed is legal in California. If they say you can't smoke it, you cannot. You know what I mean? Like it's that. So I think Jaw's gonna get a severe punishment. 1, because he was told, and then you come on with the theatrics. Oh, and I'm cured now, and I'm with the Lord, and I see guns and I say no, and all that crap he's selling everybody. And then the first time you get him with his boy, it
was like 5 minutes. It was like 5 minutes
come
after.
on, bro. You gotta. Now you're gonna get the punishment, because now if Adam Silver doesn't do it, you're looking like now the player's gonna say, if you don't do that to him, well, I'm finna do this. I'm about to do this. Matter of fact, I think this about the the alphabet community. Here's what I think about like now it starts getting out of hand. So he's gonna have to lay the hammer, and I think it's going to be majorly severe. I think it could be a half, but I think it's going to be a full season. He may not, because if Deshaun Watson didn't get a full season, right? So all that Adam Silver is considering, and he's a white man giving a Jewish white man, more specifically, giving a black man a punishment, and he's a young black man. He's not even 25, right? So like Adam Silver has to take all that into consideration when he lays it down. But I think it will be nothing less than a half a season. Nothing less.
I agree. I absolutely agree. It does, and it has to be swift. And obviously, you got to make. Unfortunately for him, he's going to be made an example.
Yes.
Now that's, and then on top of that, like you said, he goes through this whole theatrics of how he was saved and he's fixed and all that other crap. And then it was, and I know I'm joking. Obviously, I'm exaggerating. It was like 60 seconds later, he's back doing this, and it's like, damn, right. you couldn't even get a couple months. Like, come on, man. Like, it's just you gotta, the people around him, man, they got to get in his ear, or somebody got to talk to him. they got to get somebody to get his head straight because he will ruin himself very, very early. Anybody know Alden Smith? That moron in the NFL. Look at a guy that probably had Hall of Fame talent and was ascending, and look what he did to himself. Like, it's just
time and time again.
It's just, and we've seen this before. So if they don't catch him now, and he's already, the day of social media and all this nonsense of clicks, and who gives a shit, especially when you're trying to be gangster when you're really not.
Did anybody see the thing they've been playing it online where it played the old Eminem clip from 8 Mile where he was saying how the one guy keep trying to be a gangster, but he had like this great life.
Yeah,
they played the same with John Morant. So because he doesn't it's like he's trying to be something maybe he's not. And I'll tell you what, Kendrick Perkins made a good point that maybe his time in Memphis is just up. Maybe he needs a change of scenery.
Here's the deal. Here's why I disagree, because I saw that. And I actually hit my boy Stephen A. That's my man. So I hit him. I was like, he's wrong. And here's why. My dad was a lifelong addict, alcohol and drugs, right? And I never forget, I asked my dad, I said, Dad, well, if Baltimore was so filled with drugs and alcohol and all that, why didn't you just move? And he looked at me and he started busting up laughing. And he said, boy, because I know no matter where I go, I'm going to be waiting for me when I get there. Yep. That was so deep, right? You can't escape you. It has nothing to do with Memphis. It 100%. Has everything to do with Ja. Yep. He's doing that. It does not. You know how many people play on Memphis Grizzlies? How many have you seen in the same trouble? None. You see what I'm saying? It's not the city. Yep. It has nothing to do with the city. It has everything to do with him.
Yep.
100%. Because send him to Utah. Ja will be waiting for Ja off the plane.
It doesn't change
with his gun. Okay. As soon as he get off the plane, he's gonna hand himself the gun. Here we go.
Get off the plane.
Right. Let these Mormons know what's up. You know what I'm saying? So it's more like that. So I think it's more about him. It has nothing to do with the city. Moving him does nothing.
Agreed.
I'll give my Nigel. You go first. And I'll give my point.
Yeah, I mean, listen. There's nothing I'm going to say that's going to be that drastic from the rest of these boys here. I feel like Joy really hit it on the head with something that he said in the latter part. It's like for these clicks and social media and that stuff really does influence these kids. These young men coming out of college that are making it into the league. That's what they need to do, is make it into the league. And they're coming from, some of them, not all of them by any means, are coming from places where it's like the low income or really hard times for coming up, and they make it. And they make it, and they're making money, and then they just kind of go back to perhaps some old ways or get into some wrong people or whatever the choices are. And it sucks because it's like you worked this hard. You did things that were so much more. You're so much committed. You committed yourself to this league, to getting to where you want to get. Then you go and do this, and it was seconds of your life that you can't get back now, that you're going to be punished for. And then again, seconds after that, you make the same decision, the same stupid decision. Like, what are we doing, man? If you're running that city, you are literally running that city. You are running Memphis, Tennessee. And this is what you do. This is how you repay your fans, the kids that look up to you, the community.
Teammates.
Man. Like, yeah, your teammates, of course, the organization. So it's just upsetting. Yes, for sure. The punishment is going to be hefty, and it has to be. It has to be. And it's like it is what it is, man.
Do you think it's going to be a half a year, a full year? What do you think?
I don't know. See, and this is where Caleeb brought up a great point. It's like, because of the Watson situation and how Goodell didn't really handle that properly. Yep. I'm afraid to put any money on the fact that it would be half a season or a season. I'm really afraid because I don't want to say this. I don't think it's going to be that long, and it sucks. I think it's going to be a package thing with, like, I don't know what the time is, but I don't think it's going to be half a season, and it's going to be like, community service and yada 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 and a bunch of other garbage that's not really going to affect change, not only in his mentality but in his camp's mentality. And that's what I'm afraid of, because the Watson thing should have been a little harsher, in my opinion. Yes.
And
so I just think this offense that we have on our hands with Ja should rightfully so. It should be scolded, man, because this is bad. That thing could have went sideways at any point in time. Him and a gun in a club, that could have went bad.
Dropped it by accident, it goes off, hits
That's
somebody.
What I'm saying.
Now you're in jail
That's
for life.
Plexico Barres.
Yeah.
But here's one thing that I will say that's the difference in whether you can debate whether it should be or not. A gun in the hands of a young black man, the image in the American conscience is terrifying.
Yeah.
That is what Adam Silver has to address.
True.
That's the image. A black dude in a towel asking for an extra rub is bad, but it's not as bad. It's like people are like, he's a dick versus this dude could kill somebody. It's so. Oh, I'm sorry. I used that word. My bad. He's an arrogant guy, right? But a gun is the image of violence. They can't have the image of violence being on the face of the league, like the new face, right? Allen Iverson couldn't make it today. With social media, the way AI was back in the day, yeah, right.
Even with the braids and tats, that was too far. That was too far.
Yeah, you remember that, right?
Yeah,
so now, y'all is Allen Iverson with a gun. There's no way they're letting this slide. Like Silver's it's gonna be one of those punishments where Adam says, "You know me, I wouldn't even trip, but they want to really get you."
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I think I can see it being a full year, and in the sense of, and I don't remember who said it, but somebody else on ESPN said this as well. Said that if you do it a half a year, or if you do it like any length like that, when he comes back, it becomes like it's almost like welcoming him back, the conquering hero, the guy that's going to help you get back into the playoff thing. It's not like it's the same thing. He's not coming back from. It's like he's coming back from a hiatus. You're going to applaud him coming back. So I think it's got to be a year, and not so much for the league. And I get at the end of the day, the league is only worried about the league. I want to see Adam Silver do this for Ja Morant himself. I think this is a kid that's at a crossroads in his life where he can really kind of decide where he wants to go. I think he needs to be saved from himself a little bit, because he did it once, and not even a year goes by, only a few months goes by, and he gets caught again doing the same exact thing like an idiot. He needs to be not just slapped on the wrist, but he needs to be hit hard. And I think mainly to save him from himself, because it would be such a tragedy if this kid doesn't get the message early enough and destroys what could be a potential Hall of Fame career. Because to me, coming out of that draft, he was the guy I wish my Knicks could have gotten. He was the guy that I loved most coming out of that draft. Even with all the hype with Zion.
He better be lucky the Knicks didn't get him, because his ass will be in jail right now. New York gun laws?
Yeah,
Good point. But having said that, I think this is a kid that obviously comes from a good background, comes from a good family. But save and that should be the reason why you save a kid, because at the end of the day, you save a kid from himself if you can fix it either way. But he's a kid that needs to be saved from himself, maybe. And I think therefore it's imperative, hit him as hard as you can. If it's a full year, and listen, I do the full year and then let him appeal it. And if it goes to appeals and then maybe it comes down a little less, then okay, it is what it is. But I go extra hard, not so much because I'm trying to punish this kid and teach everybody else what not to do. I want to save this kid's life. He's young enough and he's impressionable enough. The reason why he's waving a gun is because he's young and impressionable. And he thinks it looks cool. That's the reason why he's doing it. He's not doing it because he's having beef with anybody. He's doing it because he thinks it looks cool. Teach him now that that's not what you do as a pro, just as a grown man.
Yeah, to me, it's just it's ridiculous. Like, one, he's doing it. Yeah, not so much for the cool factor. It's a little bit, but what it really is it's to let as the young kids say, the ops know that it's no easy win over here. I'm strapped. You think I'm a lick? Too. No. He's a young dude, so he's like, y'all think I'm an easy lick because I'm in the NBA and I'm this, so you think I won't do nothing. Around here, we ain't playing. That's what he's really sending. Like, I don't need security. It's me. Now, that's where the dummy part is. Yeah. Because what you need is security. All the kids talk about Scarface. You saw what Tony did when he was with Frank. Frank said, "Tony, please don't kill me." He says, "I'm not going to shoot you." Manolo, get him. You know what I mean? It's like, you got to have Manolo. That's what I'll be in my video like, yeah, but if you come over here, you're going to have to deal with him. Like, not me. You know what I'm saying?
Caleb's right. And I will say this, to a point you said, Gene, and I know we've gone on long with this topic. Let's say, and you're talking about saving him from himself, which is absolutely 100%, and that is the important part. And I know we said it could potentially be ruining a Hall of Fame career and all this stuff. And honestly, it shouldn't matter if he was good or if he was a bench player, to be honest with you, if this would be saving him from himself. So my next question would be this. If he was a bench player, would anybody care?
No, he would be cut.
Thank you. And that's
he would have been cut 1,000%. This is the only reason why it's getting so much topic is because of the potential.
Listen, absolutely. Memphis was willing to get rid of what's his name because he talked trash about LeBron. He's already gone.
Well, it wasn't because he talked trash. It was because he talked trash and didn't back it up.
Yeah.
Got out there and got embarrassed. Yeah. That's what happened. But and not helping offensively. But we can end this topic. But I'm gonna just say this to the young kids out there, the Ja Morants in that era. I know y'all love Lil Wayne. You got to listen to what he said. Lil Wayne has a line where he says, I'm the one with the money, so I'm not the one with the gun. All I have to do is give the word to the one with the gun. You see what I mean? That's how you got to live when you in that position. You say, hey, man, he tripping, do something. Like, it's too risky. He may end up losing his entire career over something that is dumb.
Or his life.
Yeah.
It's like the Chappelle skit when Keeping It Real goes wrong.
There it is.
You look like a tough guy until you need to really use it. And are you going to use it?
Everybody got a plan so you get punched in the mouth.
Right. There it is. You can wave that gun all you want. Is Ja the type to really use it if he even needs to, or is he just waving as a defense?
He better not be the type to really use it if he needs to.
But I'm saying that's what I'm saying. So, but you know,
the dumbest thing ever. I know you got a cousin who can't even get a job at Walmart.
Yeah.
And you say, look here, I'm gonna pay you $100,000 a year to just go everywhere with me, so you're gonna have a life that you never had. $100,000 a year, and all you gotta do is carry that thing. And if something go down, you take the fall, and I got you. Duh. Like, it's not even a question. You're making $100 million a year with everything, with your contract, with the shoe stuff, with the endorsements. Stop it.
Chris Carter said it. Remember Chris Carter said it. You always have a fall guy in the crew.
Duh. And you got family that would gladly do it. They're like, I ain't got nothing else like this. I'd gladly do that.
Yep.
Right? Are you kidding?
There you go. So, all right. So let's get on to the next thing. This is a little bit of an impromptu thing. It kind of just came up. I figured we got to at least give our take on it. Joel Embiid trade possibilities. You've been hearing is as someone who should be as solid in Philly as he should be, reigning MVP, everything else that goes with it. You're still constantly every day hearing there's these trade possibilities with Embiid. Nigel, do you foresee any truth to this at all? He matches up with Nick Nurse perfectly, I think. But do you see this at all as something that's possible? And if it is possible, where could you even see finishing up?
Oh my gosh. I only say that because I don't know. I don't know where he could end up. I don't see it being a real thing. I think Philly and the organization likes him too much, and I think there'd be a lot of whoever the team is would have to give up a lot. I think to get Embiid, because Philly's not just gonna show their belly and be like, yeah, you know what? Here we ran the process. Trust us, it didn't work. Yeah. So whatever. I don't think that's gonna happen.
New process.
Yeah, but. And I think that Nurse would have a time. I think they want to give Nurse at least 2 seasons with him just to see.
I think they're a perfect fit, to be honest with you.
I agree. So I don't think this is really a thing. I think it might be clickbait. If he was to go anywhere, man, I feel like he might stay in the East and go somewhere like, this is really ridiculous for me to say, but like go to the Pacers or like go to like a team that really needs a star. A team that needs it bad. Those are the only teams that can give Knicks? Up. Like the zero chance. Zero chance.
I'll be honest,
no way.
I don't think Philly ever trades him to New York because they would never want to have to see that many times. Right. And I'll be honest with you, I think you'd have to give, like you said, give up way too much. It'd basically be like starting over and just having Embiid at that point. We did it with Carmelo, and that didn't work out. Not because Carmelo wasn't worth having over New York, but you gave up everything you had to go with Carmelo. To the point where then it was just Carmelo and that's it. So I don't foresee this happening. I think if I'm Philly, same thing. I think Nick Nurse is the perfect coach to get them even more out of Embiid than he's already gotten. I would stand pat Caleb, what do you think?
For me, I think this is a internal dispute, and this trade thing is a tactic. It's a dispute between which direction are they going to go. Are they going to follow the Embiid train, or are they going to follow the Harden train? Because Harden didn't want Nick Nurse there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they put Nick Nurse in. So that's as if the team, it's like the Shaq Kobe thing, right? So I think the idea of he could leave. I don't think that's Embiid. I think that's his people putting that out there to force the 76ers to decide. Because what I really think, I don't think Embiid wants Harden in Philly. I think this season broke that. He saw what that unless he goes for 40 every night, like this dude takes nights off, nah. And they argue internally, like behind the scenes about the direction. So that's what I think it is. And I agree with you. He's not leaving Philly. It would be Harden. But I think this is a tactic that's out there to use to gain control of the team, and they're gonna have to choose between him or Harden. And I think we all know who they would pick,
for sure,
and go from there. But that's what I think it is, and I could be wrong. I'm not a part of the association, so I don't know. But just looking at it, that's what it feels like.
I agree with that, Joey.
Yeah, I agree too. Number one, he's not going anywhere. I don't think he's going anywhere at all. If anyone's leaving, it's going to be Harden. He'll probably just leave for free agency regardless. And like Caleb said, this dude taking nights off, they're not going to ride with him. So there's just no way. And you're probably right. It's probably internal. It's what it kind of seems like. I don't see. And again, I don't know where this is coming from, but I just don't see how there would be any possibility of him leaving, especially with the new coach now. And I agree with Eugene. I think he's a great fit. So I just don't see that being a possibility. Not even. I mean, anything's possible, but I just don't see it. It seems almost as impossible as it could be.
And did we see Nick Nurse's press conference with his lukewarm mentioning of James Harden?
He
did
Harden
not sound like he wanted him.
Harden did not want him.
Yep.
Harden wanted Mike D'Antoni. Here's where they split, right? Outside of the season stuff, they can have their own personal issues. Yeah. What had happened was Embiid wanted Doc to stay. He liked Doc Rivers. He wanted Doc. Harden was pushing to get rid of Doc, right? The team agreed with that and got rid of Doc. So Harden was happy. Embiid wasn't. But then they gave Embiid the coach he wanted and not Harden, right? Yeah. So it's like they're playing both sides. So that's why I think it's an internal issue between the two star players. You know what I mean? Like it's that, and they're trying to manage it. I think Nick Nurse is the right decision, but Harden does not like him and doesn't want to play for him. So that's what the issue is. So we're gonna see how it plays out. But 1,000%, that's what the issue is. Harden likes a different game. He likes faster pace, even though he can't keep up anymore. But he likes the Antoni style.
He likes that style, and I'll tell you why. I think it lessens what he has to do on defense. He doesn't do anything on defense anyway, but it's his excuse to not do anything on defense. Well, it's the style of play. I don't got to do anything defense because the style of play has to be always on offense, and I'm running. So I think he likes it as an excuse of why he doesn't play defense. But but we'll see. I know we touched on it before. Everyone seems to think he's going back to Houston. Let me tell you how much of a mistake I think that would be for Houston. Any young team really on the come up, it would be such a mistake to add him there. At this point, I think his only fit really is to go to a team that is kind of in the middle, that just wants to sell some tickets until they figure out what they're doing. And that's not Houston. Houston has a game plan. They got a nice young nucleus. They got a nice new coach. Same thing in Detroit. I wouldn't want to see him go to Detroit. We'll talk about Detroit's coaching hour in a minute. But Detroit has a nice young nucleus with a nice young coach. I don't bring him there either. He's got to go to a place where it's like you're in no man's land for a little bit. You might as well sell some tickets in the meantime.
So that means he's going to the Lakers.
Or the Clippers. The Clippers can afford him. Clippers would be a perfect fit for him.
From LA anyway. So, you know what I mean? Like it's all good. But he's almost done, you guys.
He's an old 33.
He's got old 33 seasons, and that's pretty much it. His businesses are in Houston. I get why he would want to go. He really wants to go to probably retire. He'll do one season and then that's it. Like, because I don't really see like him doing anything in the league anymore.
Yeah,
it's passed him by, and he's too injury prone.
Yeah,
he's in the sunset
like
of his career.
I love Chris Paul.
Yeah,
but it's over.
Yeah. Pat, we do have the video of Nurse talking. Play that video real quick of Nurse talking. This is the thing we were talking about before with Nurse talking about Harden.
Patty ain't got no
Do you
clip.
want James Harden back?
James Harden's a great player.
That didn't answer the question.
Well, I would say this is that James has a decision to make, and I'd be very happy if he came back.
That does not sound like he really can.
No,
that says exactly what I was saying. That's internal.
Yep.
He's saying, I'm here. This is what it's going to be. I would love for you to be a part of it. But you got to decide if you want to roll with us or you want to roll with somebody else. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Embiid, no response, no chipping in. That means.
Yep.
Right? Like I'm with.
Yep. And he was pausing between. He was trying to make sure he was calculating.
He was trying to say the right thing.
He was calculating for sure.
So, you could see the brain moving. And when somebody says like, what I'll say about this is that
you're buying time.
There is a situation that I would listen. What I would say. I would love to have him. I'd love to have him back. Next question. It's like you can see it. You can see it.
But it also is saying, but if you don't, okay.
Yep.
That's exactly it.
Either way, we rolling.
Yep. Yeah. Like that was his choice.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move on. NBA legacy is hurt by this postseason. Do I even need to go? Because you guys know where I'm going with this. Whose legacies were hurt this postseason?
Oh,
who had one of those postseasons?
Go ahead, answer your
you know I know it's Jason Tatum. You know I know it's Jason Tatum. So, I can say many reasons why. 14 points in the game 7, game 2, fourth quarter. He scores 34 points, but he takes 0 shots in the fourth quarter. So you score all those points when they don't matter, but when they really matter, when they really need you to get a bucket, you're nowhere to be found. And not to say they don't matter, because obviously the 34 points contributed to the points they had. I get it. Game 3, 14 points, where it was like you're worried about going down to 0-3. You can only muster 14 points. So Jason Tatum is my guy that has further hurt his legacy. And does he to the point where I don't even know if he even has a legacy because he hasn't done it yet. Yeah. So I don't know if there's a legacy to hurt, but if anything, he put himself in more in the negative as far as getting a legacy. So I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna shift it over. Whoever wants to go first, Nigel, Joey, Caleb. Who do you say had a kind of a rough postseason, may have hurt their legacy a bit?
I'll jump in real quick. This is going to be very short. I think it's Chris Paul. I think it's Chris Paul. But I don't think it hurts his legacy. I want to make sure I'm clear. I don't think it hurts his legacy. All it does is just, for me, solidifies the fact that it's a wrap, man. It's okay. It is okay. I just feel like he's gone past. He's past the threshold of when of how he is going to be a value to a team. In the respects that he was a value to a team, which is like, assists and playmaker and running the floor. He just can't do it anymore. And it was just so clear and so apparent when he got injured again. And then the Suns it's like the life was brought back to them. We've seen it before at the end of a movie and our hero goes down and the supporting cast gets around them. It's a hero movie and everybody's waiting and the tension's there. And they come back. That was the Suns after Chris Paul bounced. So I just feel like, for me, it's Chris Paul. I'm not a hater. I just think his time's done.
So in a way, you're kind of saying he solidified the legacy he already kind of had.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. He was never a guy that he always got hurt at the wrong time. Yeah.
Wasn't a guy that was meant to really win a championship. As good as he was, and he's just kind of solidified that. So I'll take that. I get that.
Yeah. He just was never able to be on a team he always got on the team at the wrong time.
I agree. At this point going forward, I think if he wins a title anywhere, he is just along for the ride at this point. Yeah. Someone else is get the title just so he can finally say he has the title. So I agree with that. Caleb, what about you?
I would say James Harden. Because here's why. He, in the series that they ended up losing, he had games where he went for 40 and then games where he went for 4. Mm-hmm. So that shows not a lack of ability, but a lack of desire, and the mental capacity, right? He quit on them. See, to me, that's way worse. I would take a Tatum who twisted his ankle and tried and was still out there and Buckets is doing what he wants to him and all that. I get it. But Harden, that's worse to me because That's a mentality. Like, you quit on us because you don't like it. Oh, it's hot in here. I don't want to play. You know what I mean? Like, like it feels like as if a cat was like his voice. I don't feel like playing today. That type of energy. You know what I mean? Like that's what makes it worse to me. So I think it really hurt his legacy. Like, I think it's almost irreversible at this point. Like even if he was to go win a chip, if he's not like a huge contributing factor, like he's lost it to me. I think it's way more a mentality. Like, there's a, you know what? He feels like entitled. He feels like a spoiled kid that just thinks that it should just, that's what it feels like. And that's not sexy. Nobody likes that.
I would say I went with Tatum because obviously I
know.
But Harden was my second guy. Like, if there was a guy that you're looking at going from 40 points down to 9 in game 7, Harden was my second guy. Joey, what do you have?
Well, it's funny because like Caleeb says with Harden, it's like, because he's been so great before, and then it's like all we see now is this. So it's kind of like it's you're like kind of, it's like the recency thing where you're just, that's all you're thinking of. So yeah, it probably could hurt him, but as painful it is to say it, yeah, Tatum is probably there with me, and I like Tatum. Obviously, I'm a Celtic fan. It's just it's the hasn't done it, can't finish it. It's just and even the series here, you know, he just wasn't showing up. And yes, I know he got injured, and it sucks that happened to him. But there was certain nights where he just wasn't the player that he should have been. But they got to talk about, well, I can't see him having 2 games like that. So next night he's going to be good again, and then he would have a good game. But you know, the real guys, man, you got to be consistent. I'm not saying you got to put up 50 every night, but you got to be consistent, especially when you're one of the main guys. And it's not just, he's not the only player. I mean, Boston's got some really good players. So it's not like
he's supposed to be the guy. He's supposed to be the guy.
Exactly. But what I mean is, it's not like we're buckets where Jimmy, he's got to put up 50 a night, or they're not doing anything. He is the only player. I mean, they got some players, obviously, but he's their main guy, where, you know, Tatum's not the only one, but he is their main guy. He's supremely talented and could be just completely dominant. So, you know, without the injury, does it help in game 7? I don't know, but still, I still think that, you know, when it comes down to it, Tatum, for me, it could hurt him as far as that. I still think he can make up for it because he still has time to win a championship, where Harden is done. Like Caleb said, he's done. He's riding out. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm at with that.
I may or may not believe that Tatum faked his injury in game 7 just so he didn't get the pressure on him.
Oh,
no, I'm playing. I'm teasing.
But I'm going to say this. I'm going to tell you this. Where can you ever have a job where you can fail that bad? And I'm not even talking about Tatum. I'm talking about his partner in crime, Mr. Jaylen Brown, who I think really entered his legacy, to be that horrific and still have your feet up talking about my $300 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and you guys know, I've always said Brown's the guy I like on that team the best. Jaylen Brown is my guy on that team. I was very disappointed in him at the end.
Do you think he deserves the $300 million contract?
Well, he's not playing.
My thing is this. He usually plays better in bigger games. I don't know if this is who he is in big games. With Tatum, I don't know who he is in big games. But Brown, I think, just had a bad game at the wrong time.
So you think he's worth $300 million?
I don't.
It's
I'm a Boston fan.
Max.
And I'll say
no. Probably not. Probably not.
But they're gonna give it to him
because they have to.
Brad Stevens said they're not going away. So that means listen. So after next season, you know they're not getting rid of JT. So they're gonna have 2 players that take up $600 million.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
You better be winning some chips. I'm just saying.
Not too long ago, franchises were worth $600 million.
I'm going to LA Fitness in Miami and go get the new team. go to the Red. Like, come on, I'll come to Boston.
YMCA. Yeah, you know, that's how it is, though. You know, you pay you always, every player is going to get overpaid just because of what they. Yeah, somebody that's always be willing to overpay.
It's the market. I you know. So I digress.
And you can't tell them to turn it down. I could never ask him to turn it down.
It's not Jaylen Brown's fault.
Yeah,
it's just the markets. But
now, do you think there's any credence to him with that idea where they're saying there's a lot of talk about him getting traded for Dame Lillard? Could you see that being a possibility?
Yeah, if Dame was into it, but the Portland may want more than just Jaylen Brown.
Oh, you're gonna need some draft picks too.
Yeah. That's Dame Lillard.
Yeah, but also word on the street is Dame's living like a king and loves every minute of it in Portland.
Yeah.
He loves every minute of it.
He must love Portland because if he hasn't left yet, he must love Portland.
It's true, man. Like that's what the word is.
He must love his peace and quiet because there's nothing else going on.
Yeah, is that he's down with Portland. Like he's not on the trading block. He's not in the market. He loves where he is. He loves what he's doing. He loves I don't know if he loves.
Which is refreshing to see that somebody always want to jump to a bigger market. It's nice to see someone want to stay in their market. Yeah. But I'd love to see him finally play for a championship somewhere. I mean, we're going to be, I'm afraid he's going to be one of those guys that like Chris Paul that we're talking about years down the road, then saying, he all this greatness and he's never won a chip. I'm really scared that's what's going to be the legacy of Dame Lillard is
all
this
greatness.
His fault,
though, because in this day and age, you can leave. And so if he chooses not to leave, then he decided not to leave.
I agree with that. But I also find it to be a little commendable that you didn't go join somebody else. You didn't just hop from team to team looking for that.
I get it, but the times have changed. That's just what it is now. But with this new CBA, I'm hearing that the NBA is stopping all that. Like they're making it very hard for you to maintain 2 stars like that. So that's why it's going to cost Boston more than $500 million to have 2 players.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. So on to the next. Monty Williams signs a huge deal to take over the Pistons, a 6-year, $78.5 million deal with 2 team options to actually bring it over $100 million.
He deserves it.
I think he's a fantastic coach. And you know what? And I think he turned down Detroit already this offseason. So Detroit had to come with something heavy, hot and heavy, right?
Well, you know why he turned it down? Because he thought he had a job in Phoenix. He did not think he was going to lose his job. You know what I mean? He just signed an extension. I think he had just signed like the new deal like a year before or two.
He even turned him down after losing the Phoenix. He turned him down this year. He turned him down this year. They tried reaching out to him and he didn't take the meeting at first. So even this year, even after the Phoenix job, he still turned it down. He was going to take the year off. And then they came through with $75 or $78 million. And it said, wait a second, maybe we'll talk.
Yeah, you can't turn that down.
But now, what do we think about the future of Detroit? Looks real bright, right?
It is. Listen, they're expecting him to turn them around like he did the Suns. So I mean, literally went to the finals just 2 years ago.
Yep.
He has over 194 wins. I mean, come on, man. That's what they're expecting. Otherwise, they wouldn't be giving him that kind of money. It is also why they wouldn't have gone to him in the first place. So, but yeah, it's kind of losing your job will kind of motivate you to pick up another one. Just kind of how it goes.
And they got a lot of young talent: Ivy, Duran, Cunningham, Wiseman, who actually had a nice bounce back year last year in Detroit. Nigel, do you see this as a team that's on the rise? And how long do you think it is before Monty gets them into the playoffs?
To answer your first question, yes. I don't think that I think they're on the cusp of playoff stuff. I don't think they're going to go past like the first round anytime soon, but I think they're on the cusp of stuff. Detroit always has our number. Always has our number when they come to Toronto underneath. Was it Sam? No, who's their last coach? I should know this because just. Whoever the last coach was, he was our coach before Nick Nurse. Mm-hmm. And all I'm saying is that whenever Detroit came up, always had
Was it Casey?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, and so it's like not only that the coach knows the system, but the players, man, the players are good. Like it's like Detroit's not a joke. You know what I mean? So I think he's got his work cut out for him, but I think it's in all the best ways. So I think they're going to be a little bit of a force here and there. They're going to end up being like, a lesser Miami in terms of a team that's just going to want to fight and play hard because they got a young squad. What was the second part of the question?
I forget.
Yeah, me too.
I forgot to. How many years before they actually are considered a playoff contending team?
Oh yeah, man, we got to give them like 2 minimum.
Yep,
2.
I was gonna say 2 exactly.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah. Now, do we think looking into this because it's a long contract, 6 years with 2 options? Is he there the full 8? If you take the 2 option years, is he there the full 8?
He could be.
It's a good enough situation where if you can build off what they're building now, you could really put yourself in the position to be like almost like a young, like Spoelstra. Spoelstra, what he's doing right now is showing he can win with lesser players. If Monty Williams can do that with this young squad and a bunch of role players around this young squad that he has, he can really put himself into that same type of coaching breath as Spoelstra, I think.
Yep.
So all right, so let's get on to the next one. Go ahead, Joey.
No, I'm saying agreed. That's it.
So all right. So next thing, and this we'll let Nigel start this. Raptors have shown interest in Sarunas Jask. You know his name. You can see it. It's with a J. Listen, he's not. He's got a little bit of pedigree to him. He's coached in the EuroLeague. He was actually a EuroLeague legend as a player. Played with the Pacers and the Warriors at one point. Coached in Lithuania. He's now coaching, I believe, in Spain. Do you know anything about this guy? Do you want this guy at all?
I don't know much about him, but I will say this. This is kind of indicative of the Raptors squad, of their head office or front office. It's like, we'll kind of go off the beaten path for a little bit, off the beaten path, and just to see what else is out there. We're very close to the cuff right now with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
In terms of our trades, moving pieces, who's available, what do we want to do for a coach, what's our system next year, what kind of a team are we going to be? So far, nothing's been revealed. So this wouldn't surprise me if this was a move that we made. I feel like this choice, making this guy our coach, would be something that is right in our wheelhouse, and Sarunas could bring something different to the league, not only our team, in terms of the European style, whatever that may be, whether it's his offense with our players or whether it's the way we play our defense. And he might be the most drastic from the nominees that we have in line, from like from any of the guys that we have in line, especially coming from the Nick Nurse era. So this might be a great choice, just to, another, again, retool, I believe was the word that that Maddie was using last week. This might be the best way to retool the team. So I'm okay with it.
I think listen, I think when you really think of European coaches, they're most notable for their offense, right? They usually don't play much defense. They don't coach much defense. Like, if you look at D'Antoni was a European coach before he came over here, and all he did was offense. They don't do defense. I don't know enough about Sarunas to know if he's I say Sarunas because I don't know him like that, but it's just a lot easier to say than that last name. But I don't know enough about what he coaches on defense, but I do know that just primarily in Europe, they coach offense mostly, not so much defense. Is your team, and I ask you, Nigel, because you're the most familiar with Toronto, are they suited for that kind of style of play?
I think it would definitely benefit our squad, because I think it would be hard for them to unlearn what they've learned through Nurse playing defense. Mm-hmm. Which is a good thing. I'm saying that I think they'll keep a lot of those habits. And now if it is an offensively pushed squad, I think that only serves us more so, because we did struggle on offense a lot this year because we were trying to figure out what we were doing. And then we were making dumb turnovers. Like, I feel like that might be something that would be more to our strength. Sure, we did make it to the play-in, but man, that was a struggle. That whole journey, that back half of the season was, we had some real ups and downs. The first half was just a hot mess. So I think it could serve us really well, actually.
What do you guys think over there, Caleeb?
I mean, I don't know enough about this man's style of coaching to say anything, so I can't really speak on it. But from what I just know about the European style, I would say, the lack of defense could be an issue if you don't have a lot of snipers around. Because I understand the best defense is a great offense, right? Like, I understand that, but you got to make sure that great offense is always showing up. You know what I mean? Like if you want to win. So there's that. But I mean, if anybody would take a chance with a European coach, it would absolutely be the Raptors. They're already not a quote unquote American team. So it's already like in their vibe to do something like that. And so I think let's see what happens.
And one of the things that your jury has always done really good at is finding talent that nobody really knows of, finding hidden talent, finding talent that's big, so where we don't really know. Could this be that next guy? He's done it with players. Could he be doing it with a coach now, Joey?
I mean, yeah, even Caleeb said, admittedly, I just don't know enough about him to really have an opinion on it, other than European style basketball, just like everybody else said. So could it be? I mean, listen, they obviously they see something that obviously we don't follow this stuff like they do. Mm-hmm. This is what they do. They obviously see something. So maybe he would be a good fit. And finding talent in places like that, it can be done. It's been done all across sports, in every type of sport, in every type of player, coach, etc. So it'd be interesting to see if that's the case. I mean, this would be kind of like, where maybe the USFL league or something, one of these or the European league or Canadian Football League. You bring in a coach over there to be a head coach somewhere in the NFL, which is kind of unheard of. I guess in this type of instance, it would probably be more accepted. Like you said, the Raptors are Toronto. It's not really, in the States. Yeah. But hey, I don't see why it wouldn't work. I don't know enough about him to say what I think is great or not.
So now, at the end of the day, you got to trust in that team president, right? He's doing so many other things right.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. Joyce had a great thing there, which was like, obviously they see something. So, and the things that we've done, the moves that we've done in the last 5 seasons, yeah, obviously there's something there, even just for consideration, even just to, say, let's just dip our toe into this water real quick, see what that's like. Yeah.
So there you go. All right, guys, we're going to switch gears. We're going to talk a little NFL before we get out of here. DeAndre Hopkins seeking OBJ level deal. Bills GM contacts the free agent wide receiver. Also, it looks like the Patriots might now be interested in DeAndre. Where does this? We talked about it a little bit, but things now we're hearing more teams are involved. Cleveland wants to be involved. There's rumors that he could go back to Houston. Joey, we'll start with you. Where do you think this ends up? Well, do the Patriots have a legitimate chance at this?
Well, the Patriots, you never count them out of anything. They seem to get their grubby fingers into everything at some point. It's just ridiculous. I mean, who knows? Maybe they're recruiting D-Hop to play cornerback. I don't know. The way they are, who knows, man? But listen, I wouldn't put it past them, although I don't think he would be the best fit there. I mean, he's a great player, but I don't think he'd be the best fit for New England. Now, if the Bills, which is scary, if they picked him up, and you got Josh Allen and you're running that offense, and you got Diggs on the other side with D-Hop, that I don't see how you even stop that. At that point, Josh Allen, besides him having a bazooka for an arm, could literally just throw it left or right. You couldn't cover. It would just be ridiculous. The problem's going to be obviously the teams that need the cap space. He's asking for OBJ money, so you're looking at 19, 20, 21 million.
And the Patriots could do it. They're 14 under the cap right now. And how it is nowadays. You restructure a couple of contracts,
right?
And you get something under 10 mil.
Right. So it's going to really come down to what does D-Hop want? We talked about this a little bit last night. Does he want to win championships? And I'm not saying if he goes to New England, they're not in any position to be winning no championships right now. It's going to take them a while. Does he want the money? Or, like you said, maybe he goes back to the Texans or even the Browns that would pay him the money. I mean, although, Watson's there, I don't know what he's going to be because he was kind of iffy when he came back finally. I know he had a huge time off. Could he end up, maybe like I said, could someone like the Jets make a shot at him? I mean, the Jets have been going all in on these players. Could they restructure? I know Aaron Rodgers ain't going to restructure anything, but that's not going to happen. But, he could, there's a lot of teams, Atlanta. There's a lot of teams that probably have the space for him. It's just really going to be, what does D-Hop want? Does he want to go to a team? We talked about, I think even the Chiefs were mentioned, which is scary. To put him on that team. If he wants to win championships and probably get a decent amount of money, he probably should go there.
I'm going to tell you.
I would take him.
I'm going to say, and then we'll turn to Caleb. I don't think it matters if he's on the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs don't win any more or lose any less games with him on or not on the squad, because I think Mahomes is who makes those receivers what they are. They traded they trade Tyreek and they don't miss a beat really, right?
No, agreed.
He makes good receivers great. He makes great receivers legendary, and he makes so receivers actually good. So I don't even think it matters that they have Mahomes. I think they're going to be just as good with or without Mahomes. I don't think they win any more games because of Mahomes. I'm going to be honest. Because of Hopkins. With Hopkins, I'm messing up what I'm saying, but you get where I'm going with that. Caleb, where do you think this guy ends up?
I don't know. I agree. I agree with Joey though. If he went to Buffalo, besito, it's about to be a wrap for that AFC East, because I don't see how anybody defends, because you have to double team D-Hop. So then what about Diggs, right? And let's not forget about their tight end that you wanted, Fitz. Let's not forget about the other receivers that they got. It's not just Diggs. They are nasty. That would be disgusting. Now, the money that he wants, right? He said he wants OBJ money, but Odell only got $15 million. Right? Guaranteed. Yeah. So it's not, in NFL receivers, that's a lot, but it's not I'm damn, you're actually coming down. I would think D-Hop would be I'm 20 at minimum, because he's, to me, at that level. I know he hasn't played, but that's showing me something else, Gene, when we talked about this. This is showing me he's humbling himself. He's saying, let me show y'all what I can do. That is a problem.
So you're not looking at it like he's asking for more than he needs.
Huh?
You're saying it like he's limiting how much he wants. You're saying it's him saying, listen, I don't need as much as you think I might want.
OBJ is coming off a torn ACL.
And missing a whole season besides.
Two of them, thank you, Joey. And asking for $15 million guaranteed, and he got it.
He got it.
You mean to tell me D-Hop ain't worth that? Like, are you?
I agree, but here's the one thing that you got to also take into account. D-Hop has more time left where he can sign a longer term deal. OBJ doesn't have as many years left. He's going to sign a 1 or 2 year deal.
And he's not such a mental case like OBJ is.
So this is kind of where I'm going with this too.
He don't wear seashell anklets and toe rings.
Yeah.
And here's where I'm going with Hopkins. Is he saying, hey, listen, I'll take it a little less now. I'll do a shorter term deal now, so that way I get you guys on the next one. Is that what we're looking at with D-Hop? Because he's also entering the free agent market way late in the game. Like
I think he wants to show the league who he is.
Yep.
That's what I think it really is.
And if he was to do that, if I'm him, then I go for even less, and I go to the best team available, and then I sign a 1 year deal with wherever I go, whether it be the Bills, the Jets, the Chiefs, whoever it is. I ball out, and then next year, okay, but now you're going to pay me. Someone's going to pay me, and they're going to give me a 5 year deal.
I totally agree
with about
that.
50 guaranteed.
But I don't think the Patriots have a shot because he's only talked about
Bill O'Brien gives him a little shot.
But he said he only wants to play with great quarterbacks.
Yeah,
this is where I'm going to jump in. Because that's the point I was going to make, Caleb. That is the thing. Because in the last couple seasons with Kyler Murray, D-Hop has been bad. And I don't mean that he has been bad. I mean his numbers and what his production.
Here we go.
Look at those last 2 seasons. 700 yards, just under 600 yards. And then the season before that, 2020, we got 14, we got 11. And you got to think about those quarterbacks at that time were at their peak, which is the first season of Murray, I believe, and then the last season of was that Watson in Houston at that point?
Yeah, he had Watson.
Yes. Right. So and Watson was just like cruising on a different level at that time, right? So all I'm saying here with the handoff from Caleb is that what D-Hop might do is do that thing, take a little bit of a pay cut to play with the best quarterback he can play with and surround himself with a team, whether it's a championship team or not, but surround himself to get back to his bar, to his norm. Yeah. And then, Gene, what you're saying is to make that money to get the bag after, because he is a dangerous player. And Joey said it, man, if he was on the Bills, you got the left and the right. It's bananas. The Bills, I want the Bills. I'm going to say it here right now. I want the Bills to win a gosh darn championship so bad. Just because you can see how hard they want it. You can see.
Wait, what did you say? Repeat that one more time. What did you say?
Here we go.
What's the date today? June 1, 2023.
June 2, but okay.
June 2.
We're not doing Canadian hours.
It's been a long week. I want the Bills to win the championship.
Jesus Christ!
I want the Bills to win the championship.
What am I here? Nigel, I expected you.
Nigel's not here to pump up the Jets,
bro. Yes, that's not going to happen.
Actively root against their division rival.
Listen, bro. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at now.
You guys just signed Aaron Rodgers. Enough, bro.
Wait,
you're fine. Gene, you're fine. But I just want to get back to the root of it. It's just man, let D-Hop get his bag. Let him get back to fruition. Let's give this guy his flowers because he deserves a fantastic receiver. Put him where he needs to go. Give him a great quarterback, and let's see what happens.
There it is.
Yeah. Before I was going to ask a question before Nigel's gratuitous, blatant disrespect. My question was, if he was to sign with the Jets, does that make the Jets better than the Bills?
Here we go.
Is he that good?
Yeah. What?
All right, I'm making sure because I agree. I feel like he puts. I feel like wherever he goes, if it's in the AFC East with those two teams, that's the team that's
he's team. Elevated. He elevates the Jets over the Bills because don't forget the Jets got a super defense.
Yeah, I think the only place the Bills are better than the Jets is at the wide receiver spot, to be honest with you.
Right, because Diggs is phenomenal. I don't care what nobody says.
Oh, I agree.
He's outstanding.
He's
we're not going to fight you on that.
But
this was Allen. Allen's elite.
Yeah. Oh, Josh Allen?
Josh Allen's good.
Hell yeah.
He's all right.
That dude's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Josh Allen. But
G was in a different multiverse. You say he was in like 415 or something.
He was in the multiverse where Josh Allen is a Jet and has been.
No, we don't want him. We don't want him. Listen, to take a phrase out of Caleb's boys, Stephen A. Smith's mouth, Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. And you know what?
He is.
This year, I think, listen, he had an off year last year, broken thumb, new system, getting used to new receivers.
Okay.
Wasn't there for the preseason. This year, he's going to be here, thumb healed up. I think for this. Listen, is he going to be good for the length of Josh Allen's career? No, obviously he's a lot older.
We don't need him to be. He's already done.
You don't need to be.
But this year alone, I think he's going to have a better year than Josh Allen.
He might. Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. We're acting like as if, we don't know. Like, this is still.
No, it's still
this is still LeBron.
Yep.
Like,
when he's on, bro.
Dude is phenomenal.
Especially because it's a new team, right? It's new, it's fresh. It's like when teams get, believe it or not, when teams get a new logo or they get new uniforms, when they get something new, their performance is proven to be better. And I don't know how long it can stand for, but it's better for a hot minute. Now Aaron Rodgers is in a new city. He's got New
a
York.
defense. He has a defense behind him.
Yeah, man.
He didn't have that in Green Bay.
Yeah.
So.
I've never seen Aaron Rodgers sing a Taylor Swift song.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he knew who
I
he
saw
was.
him bopping over there in the stands,
singing and dancing. I'm like, what the hell?
Abby had posted him singing in the background. At one point, they dropped the confetti. He said, "Jets win the Super Bowl." He was into it, man. He's home.
He's a Swiftie.
So, all right, let's get on to the next thing. We only have a couple more left for football. Brady, I'm certain I'm not playing again. Patty has a clip of him saying it again. Patty, won't play that clip if you want.
I'm certain I'm not playing again. So I've tried to make that clear, and I hate to continue to profess that because I've already told people that lots of times. But I'm looking forward to my broadcasting job at Fox next year. I'm looking forward to the opportunity ahead with the Raiders, and we're in the process of that, along with the other different things that I'm a part of professionally and in my personal life, just spending as much time with my kids as I can.
What do you guys? There's no shot he's coming back, right? No. He's done, right?
Yeah.
He's loving them Hurts commercials. He loves them Hurts commercials.
Oh, those are so bad. I mean, he just wants to be Peyton so bad with the commercials.
Yeah, it's just you're not Peyton Manning. Peyton has one of those personalities. He just knows how to do it.
He's good.
So I agree. I don't think there's any. I'm kind of surprised that we're even talking about it because we're already moved on to so many different things. Now he's actually talking about ownership of a team. Like
until the season starts and he's not there, they'll stop talking about
to
it.
be honest, they'll probably still keep talking about it into the next offseason. I gotta imagine, but
that's the crazy part for me though. Is like he's like, I'm tired of telling everybody. Like, who is everybody? Who keeps asking? Who wants him back? We saw what happened.
There's with the Oakland Raider thing and saying, oh, maybe he'll play a year and then go into the owner's booth and But I think it's time, man.
Leave him alone.
Yeah.
He's done.
So all right, CJ Stroud working with first team offense and is way ahead of pace. What does this mean for Houston? Is he going to start this year? And
of course, he's starting.
And what do we see coming out of Houston with him? Do we see him making that leap instantly, that quickly? Do we think?
Well, how far does the leap go? Because he doesn't have far to be better than what they had last year. Like he comes out and throws 3 completed passes in a row. He's already done it. It's already an upgrade, baby. You know what I mean? So he's literally playing with house money. The only thing is just nobody's expecting you guys to do anything. We're expecting to see a little bit of improvement around here. Give DeMeco Ryans time to get it together. You know what I mean? So I don't think there's any pressure. Yeah. They should just go and play and worry about the next couple seasons. Stay healthy, get a rhythm, get your system, and go from there. Because it's a whole new team makeover down in Houston.
Yep. Nigel, is he the quarterback in 4 years of the Houston Texans?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's in the same kind of wheelhouse or the same kind of like situation as Kenny Pickett was, like as my boy in the Steelers. It's like highly touted. He's coming in there. He's replacing Big Ben. He's got a great offense or good offensive line that we know was a low suspect throughout the season. Steelers I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Stroud is coming into the same situation where there are pieces, but there's a lot of rebuilding to do with this team. And we've all talked about it almost to death. There's a lot of work to be done here. So we got to give him a little bit of grace. Let him do his thing. Let him make mistakes. but let's also recognize the greatness that he may come with as a rookie into a system that DeMeco really wants to, that really wants to get his hands down and dirty with, and bring this team back to a status that the community and the fans are in love with.
Joey, is this sales talk? Then, because a lot of coaches, way ahead of schedule. Is that what this is right now, or do we think there is something here with Stroud? They got something with Stroud, and Stroud's going to be the guy.
I don't know if it's sales talk, but yeah, a lot of teams give that. They're like, "Oh, our guy looks great. He's been working in the offseason. His footwork's improved. All this stuff's improved."
I mean, you've been hearing about Trey Lance for the last 3 years, and where's
exactly? So, as a Niner fan, I can tell you that DeMeco is an outstanding coach, and they do need to give him time. They have been building it in the right way. They've done everything right with free agency. Yes. They've done everything right in the draft, and he's an outstanding coach. So I would definitely say in 5-6 years, he should be the starting quarterback. And I do trust that they say he is ahead, because right now you're in t-shirt and shorts. He better be ahead, because what that tells me is that your read progression and your decision making is where they're probably worried, unless you're having such issues with accuracy and such, which I don't think that's the case. And on top of that, you're not in pads. You're basically running 7-on-7s and stuff like that. So let's get into not even just preseason, but let's get into training camp, and then we can start talking about that. But I think he's going to be really good, and I think the team is doing the right thing. Like Caleeb said, you just need to show some improvement, man. If you do more than that, that's great. And we could have it's a first year. Could he have a breakout year in first year? Maybe. The problem is then you have that second year, and you could have that slump. So you kind of want them to kind of build up and not just go straight to the stratosphere. Very few Patrick Mahomes out there. Just saying.
I think you're going to see something very similar to, and that's it's just by chance another Ohio State quarterback, as what happened with Fields, where it's like, you didn't see much the first year. Well, obviously, they sat mostly the first year, but second year, you see a little bit more. And by the third year, I think it's time for takeoff. I think that's going to be the same thing with Stroud. I think you can see a little bit of improvement year one. Year two, you can say, oh, wow, you're going to say, oh, wow, okay, he's got something. And year three, I think is where you can see him actually take a nice big leap. It's going to take that long, though. Besides the fact that there's a lot of other pieces around him that aren't ready yet. You want to look at just the quarterback, okay, but you need other pieces, right? They don't have those other pieces. So it's going to take a little bit of time to build those pieces around the young quarterback to make him effective. So
that's a great point, because I'm actually just looking at the Yahoo sports page here, just looking at the team, the roster. What does Houston have? And a lot of their thumbnails, the images of the players that they have right now, I would say like 50% of them have come from other teams. Like, this is really a piecemeal team at this moment. Yeah. So to your point, Gene, like this, it's gonna take some work, man, because half these guys are wearing different jerseys because they've either been, dropped or picked up during the offseason or traded, whatever the thing is. So yeah, man, there's a lot of unknowns here. So I just hope
the only thing is you hope they don't kill him in the meantime. You look, there's a lot of good quarterbacks that are tremendous in college, and they go to their pro team, and they just get the SH kicked out of them because the team around them is not good enough to handle blocks, to get open, all the other things. So you see some of these quarterbacks get ruined before they even have a chance to be good. We want to label them busts, but they didn't even have a chance in the first place. Like, David Carr, Derek Carr's older brother was the first pick in Houston. He was sacked more than any other quarterback in like a 3-year span. And so maybe he could have been good had he had someone else around him to help not get him knocked out. So there's also that he could be the best quarterback of all time coming out of college, but if you don't give him some weapons, and not just weapons, but the rest of the team, the blocking, the smarts as far as developing a quarterback, then he's kind of left to his own device, and it makes it a lot harder to then get to that next level. So hopefully they do the right thing with him. I think DeMeco Ryans is going to be a fantastic coach, to be honest with you. It's probably going to take a few years. I just hope that Houston is going to be patient with the turnaround there, And then, so there we go. And then, so now we got last topic what we got here. Now this is early on a Friday. Dalvin Cook to the Dolphins has been a rumor for pretty much all offseason. A, does it happen? B, if it does happen, what does that mean for Miami, Caleeb?
They're fully souped up. Like, there's no excuse. But let me back up. You go as far as your quarterback goes in the NFL.
Yep.
Tua, I think he's a great guy. I've actually met him personally. He's phenomenal. Sweetest guy, humble, great. Like, no lie. And that's rare with star athletes because a lot of them can be arrogant. I'll use that word. See, but let's not deny he's concussion prone. Yes. And once you're prone, it could be a legal hit. Nobody did nothing, and it jars it. I'm very concerned about that for him. And if he goes down, you saw they don't have a quarterback that can continue to keep them going. So it's like having a Ferrari with no gas. Like that car could go 200 miles an hour, 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, but there ain't no gas. So you ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that. So if they get Cook, great. God willing, Tua can just stay healthy. They go as far as he can go. And if he cannot, they're done. The best thing Miami can do is get nobody can just get this because nobody knew that was going to happen. But you need a Brock Purdy. Shout out to Mr. Joey. That's his team. You need a Brock Purdy. You get a Brock Purdy, you're golden. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, you get a second string quarterback that can come in there and give you something if he goes down, which he more than likely will. This is the NFL. 17 games in the season, all of that. Like, it's very unlikely that he will get through this season uninjured in some shape or form. So you need that second string guy. And with the team that they have, to me, that's the best investment you can make because that will allow you to continue and possibly win a title. Do you know what I mean? Like, or at least compete for one. Because if he goes down, no team is fearful of Miami. They're like, we got him. You know what I mean? There's a Ferrari with no gas.
Yep.
I could beat you on foot.
Listen,
you know what I mean?
Caleb's point, all you got to do is go back to the NFC Championship game. Philadelphia 49ers. Brady goes down. We got Josh Johnson in there. Can't even hold a football on a snap. What happened to that game? It was over in 6 snaps. After that, everybody knew, including the players, the game was over. You talk to the Philadelphia Eagles, they'll tell you, if Purdy doesn't go down, we were kind of concerned with that game. So it just shows you right there. That is a team that is ready to go without a headmaster at that point. As far as getting Cook, he's an amazing talent. And obviously with the Dolphins picking up, which is ironic, picking up all these 49er players, bringing them over there. Mostert's over there. Jeff Wilson Jr. is over there. And the same thing happened when they were on the Niners team. They can't stay healthy. So you have no run game. And to Caleb's point regarding Tua, the interesting thing about Tua's most of his concussions, he just falling down on the grass, hitting his head on the ground, which is not what you normally see. So I don't know if he needs to go to maybe some judo lessons, learn how to fall. I don't know. But it's true. If even a legal hit, you end up with a concussion. Because if he gets one, I think he's done for the season. They'd be scared to put him back in there. Without Tua, the Dolphins don't go anywhere. He just knows how to run that offense. With him, actually in there, they're scary. Now they still need to shore up these pieces, and I know they need to shore up pieces on defense because that was a big Achilles heel for them last year. Yeah, they can score 50 points a game, but they can't stop teams from scoring 50 on them. But yeah, no matter what they get, Cook or not, if Tua cannot play the whole season, they will not go even to the playoffs. So that is 100% true. But yeah, he's a great pickup if you can get him.
I mean, right now they have Gaskin, Mostert, Wilson Jr. There's no 1,000-yard backs there. Cook is an every down back. I mean, and nowadays he doesn't even need to be. But I think major upgrade, and I think it takes a lot of pressure off Tua. So I think bringing him in. Here's the thing: what Minnesota want to do is one of the questions you got to ask. Why would Minnesota want to trade him? They have a pretty good backfield already with Madison. And they'd save themselves, I believe it's $9 million.
Yeah, because he commands a lot of money. And running backs are not valued like they used to be.
Nah, not even close. You figure you can get them anywhere.
Yeah, it's a passing league now. So you got to be like Christian McCaffrey. You got to be able to run between the tackles, do a sweep, and catch it. Like that's all that old school Jim Brown type running back is dead. They don't do that no more. The NFL has changed. Yes. And to the thing, and the real quick thing with Tua, I did hear that he was taking jiu-jitsu classes.
There was the rumor of that. Yep.
I did hear that. I don't know if it's true or not.
I was just kidding.
That came out earlier in the year.
Right. But here's one thing that is always a possibility, right? We're still playing football, right? Sometimes, I'm not saying everybody's like this. I'm not saying this thing happens a lot, but every now and then there's somebody who says, "Gone and take that penalty."
Yep.
And you know what that means, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
So that means they're going to go in there, and when they get him, they're going to drive him into the ground. Let's just see if he, and I'm not saying they should, I'm not saying anybody would do it, but I'm just saying it's a possibility. But if it happens, it's only 15 yards, but you take one team completely out, and you got it, like what we did. We didn't try to injure Purdy. That was a freak accident, but it gave us a ticket to the Super Bowl. In the first quarter, game was over.
Yeah, it was like the first drive. It was it.
Right. There are some people that would argue that is, if I got a 15-yard penalty, that's worth it to go to the big dance.
Well, yeah. I don't think Philly did it on purpose. It was just
no. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying just in regards to Tua, like somebody can say, listen.
Yeah. It's easy to get him. He's not a big guy anyway.
I'll pay the fine.
Yeah.
Just, hey, you know my show's Cobra Kai. Hey, sweep the leg.
Yeah.
What is it? Strike first, strike hard. No
you
mercy.
have a problem with that,
yes,
Mr. Lawrence?
Hey, can I tell you too? I've been binge watching that. I've been binge watching it on repeat. I'm back up on. I've already seen it, but I've been watching it on repeat again. So I'm already up to season, like the last episode of season 2. While I'm at work, that's been what I've been doing to pass a little bit of time. I don't know if I can say that on here, but
I'm just saying there's a possibility though, you guys.
Yeah.
Somebody can call sweep the leg. And
remember Greg Williams from the Saints?
Yeah,
they had bounties on play, bro. They had bounties on players. Absolutely, they'll do it.
That's what I'm saying. So there's that risk too, because they know he's prone. They know what it is. You know what I mean? Like, you think the Lakers were upset when they were smacking Jaw's hand, blocking a shot?
Hell no.
Okay, like it's part of it.
Yep. Nigel, what do you got to say on this one before we get out of here?
I think the two pros have nailed it, because I mean those are both.
Did he freeze?
Okay, yeah, he froze on mine too.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right. So hopefully he'll be with us. All right, so we don't just when he's about to give us the
He's like,
point.
Am I back?
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Hey.
All right, go ahead.
I got nothing to say. I agree with the above, man. Everything is kosher with me. Same. I liked, I like what the Dolphins are doing. It's exciting to see them back in a sense so far. Like, I like that they're kind of coming up and fighting and stuff. So yeah, whatever happens to them happens to them. But yeah, that Philly San Fran game was man, one of my faves, man. I'm not a fan of either of the teams. Not like I hate them.
Sad for you.
It's unfortunate. Listen, it's unfortunate that we didn't get to see a good playoff game.
That's what I mean.
I'll tell you what.
wanted to.
And that's where I'm coming from, is that I'm not a fan of the teams, but I really enjoyed that game because you could feel the stakes and you could feel the tension. And it's unfortunate that it played out that way. It really was. And I mean, you guys both iterated and said the thing. So it was just I hope they meet again when everybody's at
I'll tell you what, it's a different game this year because Philly's better than they were going into that game. Philly's a better team than they were when they met the first time. So it's not if the 49ers have their quarterback, they should be able to cakewalk. It's going to be a different game.
Well,
no,
Philly and the Niners are the two best teams in the NFC.
But last year, I think we came into that game saying, all right, the Eagles don't really, I don't know if they necessarily are going to be able to beat.
I don't know. A lot of people picked the Eagles. The Eagles were damn good.
No, I picked them, but it's different because it's my team. But the Jalen Hurts thing, all that, like I was so looking forward to that game.
Yeah.
And it just was so
anticlimactic. It was like you already knew the game was over. First quarter, you're like, well, this game's over. Even the players knew. You could tell. Yeah. They knew. Yeah, Johnson gets out there, didn't even look like he knew where he was, just got off the couch. Like,
and then it wasn't him, it was CMC playing a couple of downs.
I mean, dude, they ran out of quarter. Like they just changed the rule this year because of that game.
Yeah.
They were like, we can't have a product. Yeah, we can't have the NFL cannot have a product out there in an NFC championship. You cannot have that. So they're like, we gotta change the rule where you gotta have more, you can allow to have more quarterbacks. We cannot have that again.
So all right, well, that's gonna do it this week, guys. Any big weekend plans?
I want to go see Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, that's a must now, right? Thanks to the boys down below. You know what? It says, when does the Flash come out?
The week after next.
You've seen the Flash, right, Caleb?
Yes, I saw it.
I saw it too. I saw it on. We had a nice little fan premiere on Sunday night, and it's directors were there, the twins, and it was.
Can we get? You don't have to do spoiler, but any thoughts? Liked it? Didn't like it? Can you say?
It looks amazing to me.
I actually really enjoyed The Flash. I thought it was good because it was actually about something. Like when you make these superhero movies, I get all the crazy theatrics, but when you can find that emotional core that locks you in, where you really are like you're watching it and you connect to it, it's phenomenal. I think they did a really good job with The Flash. It's one of my favorite superhero films. Like they did it really well.
That's awesome. Because let me tell you, seeing the trailer, which looks outstanding. Yeah. I was not real happy with them not using Henry Cavill as Superman. I don't really want to see Supergirl. I don't care about that. I don't want to see that side.
Well, I think it's part of like going into that whole universe of the multiverse.
I get it. I don't care. It's not who I want to see. It's just I'm sorry.
I'm not saying,
I want to go see the movie. I just listen. I know the whole Cara Danvers. I know all that stuff. I've seen Supergirl. I love the show. I love the show on the CW and all that stuff. It's not bad. It's just I want to see freaking.
Not what you wanted. Yeah,
I want to see goddamn Superman. My man is really good at it. I don't know what happened there. I don't know why he's not with them. Yeah. But that part was disappointing. But it is good to hear that. It's not like I'm not going to go see the movie.
I'll tell you this. Yeah, I'll tell you this on my end. It was fine. It's a really great DC hero movie. That's what I was going to ask. Because DC was very much lacking, and we all know it. That's not new, but that's for sure their number one movie that they have put out from time since they started the Zack Snyder thing. Like it's their number one for sure. Okay. Caleeb is 100% correct. There is an emotional core to it that actually helps and is the big game changer throughout the thing.
It's what made Marvel so continuously great all the time. It's the heart. They've had heart, not just action.
Yeah.
So action and heart.
Is the Joker film considered DC? The one that Joaquin did?
No, it is, but it's in their Elseworlds.
That's not DCU.
Okay, I was gonna say that is the best DC movie I've ever.
Yeah, that's not.
If it's not considered a DC, then no.
Yeah. Well, I think it all starts fresh once Gunn comes on anyway. So once Gunn does his first movie, I think that's where everything starts fresh from anyway. If I'm correct.
But didn't he? He just did the Galaxy.
That was his last Marvel one.
Now that was phenomenal.
I want to go see that this weekend too. I haven't had a chance.
It is one of the ones that it's like just like Endgame did for the trilogy, like leading up and like wrapped up a bunch of things, and you're like, cool, man, what's next? Galaxy, man. Galaxy is a trip.
So here's what I'll say, because I'm not really big on superhero movies and all that, because it's like I'm more reality based. Like I like more, as we call it, grounded type pictures, right? Like I'd rather go see a Goodfellas type movie than one of those, just so you know. But anyway, I digress. But The Guardian, so I go to see it with my daughter, and I'm like, okay, this and that. I'm trying to get, because I haven't seen all the movies, because I'm not in. But Rocket's backstory.
Fantastic.
Phenomenally done, where it grabbed me. Emotional hook is everything. So once I could relate, and I was like, damn, and I was in, I could enjoy the rest of it. And I got it, and I understood what was happening. And of course, you got, I forgot the lead actor's name, but he's
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt, very witty and funny. All of that. So great job. But the emotionality of Rocket's backstory is the spine. It's the emotional spine of the movie. Without it, there is no movie.
And that's why I always say, to me, that's the difference. That was always the big difference between DC and Marvel. Is DC was just action flicks. Marvel was action, but had heart.
Yeah, it was well written.
So there was development there. So, and that's what they do.
Is everything. If you do not care about the character, you'll never care about what they're doing. I don't care what how many bells and whistles, all of that. When we look for projects, the very first thing. So like with Cobra Kai, I'm going to tell y'all real quick. Anybody that got to go. But I'm going to just tell you this real quick. The reason why I locked into Cobra Kai, because when John, Josh, and Hayden, shout out to the showrunners, when they came in and pitched me, they pitched me Johnny Lawrence. They were like, the original bully from Karate Kid believes he was cheated in the All Valley tournament because the crane kick was an illegal kick to the face. That was kind of funny. I was like, dang, and it's true. Yeah. And what happened was he lost his father after that fight. Kreese left him. So he lost everything after that fight with Daniel LaRusso. After that, 30 years later, his life never got back on track. He's down and out, living in a studio apartment, and he turns on his TV, and the first thing he sees is a Subway commercial by Danny LaRusso. He turns off the TV. Then he gets in his Trans Am. I love it, right?
Right.
Drives down the street, and he sees a billboard of Danny LaRusso's used car dealership. He's livid. He goes into the Subway, because that's his favorite restaurant, goes to order his sandwich, and hears, Johnny, is that you? And turns around, and it's Daniel LaRusso. And he hasn't seen him since the tournament. And Danny says, you come here? And he goes, yes. And he goes, oh, you should have told me. Your sandwich is on me. He's like, nah, thank you. I don't need it. No, it's fine. I own the place. That moment, he storms out and decides he's going to reopen Cobra Kai and challenge Daniel LaRusso to a rematch. They're like, what do you think? I said, done. I said, brilliant. Because I could feel it. Yep. Like, his life is shit because of this guy who cheated him. Forget the sweep the leg. Forget all that. We're talking about me right now, right? Like, I loved it. I loved it. But that's what I mean. Once you have the emotional spine or the core, you could do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like, now we're in. So that's a quick version.
The comeback
of
story.
Lock somebody in emotionally.
I feel like I can't. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go, Jay. Go.
I had a question for Caleeb, because I know he mentioned earlier that he had his list of, sequels, and then, the third movie. So when it comes to sequels, now, obviously, I agree with that. I thought Guardians has a good trilogy, but when it comes to, I want your thoughts on Top Gun Maverick.
Okay.
Because when I saw it, I freaking loved it.
Okay. So I'm glad you mentioned it. Top Gun is actually it's my favorite movie of all time.
Love that movie.
It won best movie, the Oscar for best picture twice in 1987 and 1992. Everybody knows that. So anyway, here we go. I know you guys are like, what? I don't care. It doesn't matter. So here's why I think Top Gun 1 is better than the sequel. Only for this, the character camaraderie. That is what I missed. The second movie has all the bells and whistles. It's this, and I get the emotional core of Goose's son with Maverick. Great, right? That works. But I missed the camaraderie. I missed the guys sitting around and the banter between them.
The second place trophies in the ladies' room.
He went this. We went like that. I said, Hollywood, where'd he go? Hollywood said, where'd who go? Yeah. Right? Like that's what grabbed you in. You felt like you were being brought into a world that you were not familiar with, but you knew everybody that was there. Yep. The characters each one was so well done, where you got it. You get Slider, not smart, but a dickhead. You get Iceman, a prick, but the fucking best, right? Like one mistake, you get bored, do something stupid, and he's got you, right? But then you knew Maverick, the guy who's just like, I know everybody tells me I'm doing it wrong, but I promise I'm the best. Like, you love it. So that's what I missed in the second one, and I felt that hurt it. So to me, the first one is better because I'm more of a character guy. That's why I said I watch a Goodfellas. You know what I mean? Because we had Johnny No-Nos, and then we had Tommy Two Times, and he said everything twice, like, I'm gonna go get the papers. And then like that's what I'm talking about. Like, character is everything. Yep. So anytime it's lacking a little, I'm less prime. And that's just my opinion. The second Top Gun made $1 billion. So obviously the world loved it, as they should. But I felt the first one was it just had that camaraderie where you loved all the guys. You felt like you were a member of Top Gun.
It's also multi-generational. Top Gun, the first one. My son, who only watched it when the second one came out, it was the first time he's seen it, was the first one. And he loves it like as if it came out yesterday. Like, so it's it's good it's carried over. It's been generational. It's been carried over to now, where you don't feel like I'm watching an old movie from the 80s, like today's kids would think. it feels like it fits today still.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
is it
Top
not-
Gun is one of my
Thank
all-time.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
Top
you.
Gun-
Patty
My
Puddles.
man.
Yeah,
So-
Top Gun was one of my all-time favorites. I mean,
Yeah.
by far.
There you go. So, guys, we're gonna do our last words of the week. Let's start over there with Nigel. Nigel, last words of the week. Also, your
Hey.
first words of the week. Kind of, you just got here.
Yeah, seriously. Hey man, everybody have a fantastic weekend. I know you guys are coming off the Memorial Weekend run, so carry that through. Have a great weekend. And you know what I'm about to do? You know what
Buy
I'm
a hat.
Buy a hat.
I'm gonna buy a hat.
There you go. There you go. Make it a jet hat with those god
Listen,
awful. Oh, I hate those. I hate those. bills.
let's just keep it just a hat. Just a hat. Moving on.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, Joey. Last words of the week.
Hey man, listen, great show. Love coming on with you guys. I appreciate you guys having me every week. It's a blast coming on here. Yeah, basically, and also anything with the channel, make sure you like, subscribe if you guys really like this stuff. More importantly, tell somebody you love them.
There you go.
There it is.
Caleb, last words of the week.
I would just say, you guys, go out, go see a movie, go do something with the people that you love. You know what I mean? Spread love is the Brooklyn way. You know what I'm saying? So go on and do it. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody.
There you go. My last words of the week are Jason Tatum, you're a disappointment, and fuck the Bills. Guys, have a great today, a better weekend, and we'll see you Monday.
Go Jets!
Go Jets!
Yeah, go Jets!
That's the pop off for today, folks. Thank you to all of our listeners, as well as our producers, Patty Puddles and Fareed Kameo. And make sure you tune in tomorrow to hear what these hooligans will pop off about next.